Hello, Guten Tag und Grüß Gott. Today is Sunday, July the 21st, 2024. And, well, July the 21st is really an important day in my life. And it's been in my life for a long, long time because, you know what? It is the birthday of my dad. So, we both had July birthdays. Mine was on 24th, which is about to come, and he had his on the 21st. And when we lived in Germany, we really didn't celebrate birthdays that much. We acknowledged birthdays, but there was no card giving or anything like that. I don't ever remember making a big deal of birthdays when we lived in Germany. And that kind of changed when we came to the United States because, our birthday was a really important thing here. And so, I still remember my dad's 50th birthday. So he was born in 1912, and this is 2024. So it would make him, 112, if he was still around. Unfortunately, he didn't make it to 80. So, which is tragic. But he had a really rough life growing up in Poland. And tough areas, and that kind of thing. And by tough area, I mean lots of snow. Off and on famine. His dad died really early. He was like 12 when his father died. And so the family, had to kind of make things going. The oldest brother, Robert, was then in charge and kind of made things going. But, the oldest brother also loved women and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. So, there was some stories. But nevertheless, they made it through. And my dad, became a steel engraver and, worked for the Waffenfabrik in Radom, making engravings for pistols. In fact, he told me that he engraved a set of pistols that Hitler was to present to the president of Mexico, which is really interesting. I wonder where they were. So, he was top-notch guy and made a lot of money, as a young man. So, and, the story goes on. Anyway, yes, happy birthday, Dad, wherever you are. So, I haven't made a video in a while, and I just want to say that, it's probably been a month or so ago, and I just want to show you a stack of these papers here. This is just tremendous, yeah. So, you think that I should go through that? Hell no. But you know what? There is one interesting story I just have to talk about, and that is looking for lasting matches, bunnies try speed dating, okay? So they found out, that, bunnies are happier when they get to choose their partners. And how do they know if they are happier? Well, I guess, there are more bunnies, that kind of thing. So anyway, yeah, so this is front page stuff in the Wall Street Journal, right? But what's also significant about this particular day is that there is actually just one news story. And that news story is that President Biden decided not to stand for re-election. I have to tell you, there's a lot of pressure on President Biden to do that, to not stand for re-election, because his performance in the debate between Trump and himself made him look like not very good. I don't want to talk about bumbling idiot or anything like this, but you kind of get the idea. It was really not good. He misspoke a lot and all that, and he says, well, it was too many rides on the airplane and all that kind of stuff, and made excuses. And I think my dog is about to bark, so this is not going to be good. But there he is. Okay, I'm going to stop this video right now. So, in any case, I had to deal with a barking dog. So, he sees something outside, and, he's a livestock guardian, so he kind of goes nuts, and I'm not depriving him of the ability to see things, but I just want to tell you that, he's a great dog. Our Ghost is really a wonderful dog. So where was I? Well, I was with President Biden. So it turned out that he actually decided to not seek re-election, and made that announcement today, I guess, in a letter to the news service, and it's splattered all over. So this is basically the story. So until I intended to do a video today, and I was only going to talk about the news story over the last couple of weeks. And the last couple of weeks, the news story was, well, actually, it was probably only a week ago or so, that ex-President Trump, I'm just going to call him President Trump because that was his title at one time. Anyway, he was shot at, and he got hit in the ear, in his right ear, and that I mean, a hair's breadth from death. There was a guy, a young guy, he was 20 years old, was laying on a roof about 400 yards away, and taking aim at President Trump during one of his rallies in Pennsylvania, and shot at him. And I think he got off 5 or 6 shots, and one person died, and several of them were injured, some of them critically. And we're not talking much about that, which is kind of tragic. But the big news, of course, was that President Trump was hit in the right ear. And if he had not turned his head in the right direction, the guy would have shot him straight in the head, and it would have been over for President Trump. So this was a huge story, and there was nothing else to talk about except this situation. So it was the Monday passed. The RNC had their nomination, and of course they chose unanimously Donald Trump to be the representative of the Republican Party in this fall's race for the presidency, for presidency starting in 2025. So we have our nominee for the Republican Party, and now it's up to the Democrats to decide who's going to run. And of course, President Biden, what could he say? He endorsed Kamala Harris because he chose her as the vice president. And he would look like an idiot, if he were to say, oh, I want to have, I don't know, Chuck Schumer, or Newsom Gruesome, or Gruesome Newsom, or somebody like that, I shouldn't be saying that. That's very disrespectful of the governor of California, but I sure as hell don't like what he's doing, because right now he just signed into law that schools are forbidden to inform the parents when one of the children decides to embark on transitioning from one gender to another. And the reason I'm saying gender is because I'm not subscribing into anything that is, half female or trans or cisgender or all that kind of stuff. To me, that's kind of meaningless because I'm old school, and I don't subscribe to this stuff. I see male and female, and everything else in between and besides, is an aberration of humanity, of which we should be tolerant of. But they shouldn't be running our friggin' country, okay? And saying to us, that, unless you're transitioning, you're not worth anything, So it's this is what it's coming to, and this is what I'm objecting to. I'm not objecting to them, feeling like a female. We've got, if a boy feels like a girl, and that kind of thing, we have this situation happening in our family as well. So. And they're all wonderful people, but I think the activists are the ones that are stirring up the shit. And you know what? that's going to go bad for them, which is really tragic, because I think we just ought to be tolerant, for gayness and transitionalness and all that. But, the parents should have something to say about that, especially when their job is to raise the children. And now the governor says you don't have the right to talk about that. You don't have the right to uh, uh, influence the children and say, hey, do you know whether this is really the right call? And all that kind of stuff. And I realize there's this maturity thing involved there, the puberty issue. And so it's a little more complicated than what I'm trying to make it out to. But I'm steadfast on that. There are two genders as far as I'm concerned. And then I want to remind you that, I'm not the purveyor of ultimate truth. Not sure where humanity is heading with all that. Anyway, that's just how I feel about it. So what else we're going to talk about? Well, the thing about it is that, now we're all wondering, who's going to be the nominee, and the presumptive nominee is going to be Kamala Harris. Well, I mean, all kinds of dirt is going to be dug up on her because, she was a politician in California and San Francisco. I think she was the DA. And, there are stories about her sexual escapades with Willie Brown. And, all of that stuff is going to come out now, because they're going to try to smear her. But, it's the people that are going to have to make a decision, whether they want our country to continue to go in the direction that it's going right now, or whether they want to veer off a little bit more toward, how America used to be. And, or at least some parts of how America used to be. And what it used to be is, it was a Christian nation. And nobody really complained about that. We fought a war. The Americans did fight a war in Europe and in South Pacific, and prevailed. And built New York, built these cities, built all those things. That we now take for granted. Air conditioning, went to the moon, and so forth. All of that is attributable to Western civilization. So anyway. I just needed to make this short video, now you know that the big news is, Bunny speed dating, and they're going to be happy bunny, and there'll be happy bunnies, there'll be lots and lots more bunnies. So, I don't, I mean, now that we have this situation with President Biden, not seeking re-election, of course, that's going to be the only story, so I don't know, maybe I'll say maybe something else dramatic is going to happen. Maybe the, aliens are going to visit the White House lawn, and, say, take me to your leader. But in any case, if there's something big happening, I'll do another video. Otherwise, I'll probably just look for bunny stories. So with that, I bid you farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. So long.